Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen here. Just one second. I'm going to show the data set that we were just looking at, and you should be able to see my my little wipe off board here too, where I'm going to do my work. So we have our data set there, and the reason that we would make I left off saying here, the reason that we would make a dot, or I'm sorry, a stem plot from this and not a dot plot is because our values, actually our lowest value in this data set is 51. The lowest that somebody scored on this unit exam is 51, and the highest is 100. That's a very big spread. If we tried to make a dot plot for that, we would have to go from 51 all the way to 100 to put our dots, and that would not be ideal. So instead, we're going to make a stem plot. So in this stem plot, if my lowest value is 50 and my highest is 100, then I know that my stems would have to look like this. I would have a 5 for my 50s, a 6 for my 60s, a 7 for my 70s, an 8 for my 80s, a 9 for my 90s, and I have that 100, so I'm going to have that right there, the 1, 0, the 10. Okay, so now going through this, I now am going to record the values. It looks like I have, and it's helpful also when you guys are doing this to be able to actually mark them off physically. I think I might actually have the ability to do that. Give me one second. Let me see if I can annotate this. I don't know where it pops up for me to annotate. So I actually, oh, there it is. Okay, so I am going to annotate, and I am going to do a draw, and I'm going to do a thin line, and now hopefully it will allow me to annotate. Let's see. Yep, it will. Okay, so I'm going to erase that really quick. And I'm going to annotate this. I've never annotated before. This is my first time, but I think it would be super useful for you to be able to do this as well. So 51 is my lowest value, and these always go in order. So I would have a 5, and then that 1 represents 51, my 51-year-old that is inside, or that took this exam. The next one would be 55. 55 is the next lowest, so I would put a 5 here because I've already got my 50. Next would be 59, so now I've got my 9 right there. Okay, so I'm done with my 50s. Now the people who scored 60, it looks like I have a 65, 65, 63 is my lowest so far, 66, 66. So it looks like 63 is my lowest 60, so I'm gonna put 60, I'm gonna put a 3 right here for 63. Next, I'm going to go to 65. I have a 65 right here. Any other lower 60s? No. So 65 will be my next one right there. I do have two 66s. Whoops, I just saw it. I have another 65. So I have to put the 5 first for my second 65. And you try to line these up so that you can tell. In fact, I'm going to move this over a little bit so that you can tell how many there are within each one. Now I'm going to move on to my 66 and 66. I have 2 of those. So I'm going to scratch both of them and put 2 different 6s there. Okay. So now I'm done with my 60s. So now on to people who scored in the 70s. It looks like 77 there, 77. Do I have any other 70s? It doesn't look like it. Oh, there's a 70 right there, a 70. So that actually is going to be my first. A 70, 70 is going to be my first value there represented. And then I do have a 71 right there. Thank goodness I saw that, a 71. And now I have my 2 77s. So I'm going to add 2 7s here, a 7 and a 7. Okay, so then I move on to my 80s. I have an 89, 87, 88, lots of 80s, 84, 80 though. That's going to be my first value, 80, 80. I always number these from lowest to highest. I have an 81 right there, so I'm going to put a 1 here. I have 84. Is that my next value? It looks like it. So I have an 84 as my next value. Then I have an 88 and an 89. Do I have any other 80s? Yep, there's an 87. So 87. Come over here, 88 and 89. There are more 80s than anything else so far. Okay, so now we have 90s. It looks like I have a 92, a 91. There's my 91. That's going to be my lowest. So I start with my 91. I'm going to cross it out. And then I have a 92 right there. I have a 93 right there. Not a good scratch job. I have a 96 right there, and I have a 99 right there. My last value is 100. It's always nice, and that would look like this, 10 and then a 0, 100. So that's my stem plot right there. When I cuss about this, this definitely has, like, if I draw around it. Okay, so let's talk about center first. My center, there are actually 22 values here. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I'm sorry, 24 values here. If I were to talk about my center in this one, I would go in 12. If there are 24 values, I would divide that by 2 to get 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this one is my 12th value. But the problem is I have 12 values on this side, and if there are 24, then there are 12 on this side too. So the way to actually get my center in this one is going to be to take 77 plus 80, because it's actually right in between the two of those values, and divide by 2. That would give me the center of this distribution, the middle value. We're going to get more into that later, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Right now, you could say it's between 77 and 80 years old. Between 77 and 80 years old is my center. Okay. Okay, unusual features. We actually don't have any unusual features. We're looking for any gaps in the data. Like if there were no 90-year-olds, we would say, remarkably, there are no, I'm not year-olds, I'm sorry, these are not ages. There were no 90s on this test. We had 80s and then we had 100. If that were the case, then we would note that unusual feature, but here, everything is usual. My shape is going to be roughly symmetric. We're going to call this symmetric, and I'll talk about the other couple of distributions that we're going to see tomorrow. And then our spread, we always say from our lowest value, which happens to be 51 here, all the way to 100. That's our spread. We have a spread of 51 to 100. So that's how we would cuss about that. And that's how we would go about doing that problem.